Some of you have been triggered by the generational wound series, but not because I got it wrong, but because your wound is still driving the car. And listen carefully. Some people did mean harm. Some parents were abusive. Some families were unsafe. And there were people that should not have been given access to you. But if every conversation about healing turns into, nope, mine was worse. No, they were evil. End of story. That may be true. Or it may be the wound protecting its throne. Being hurt and then going through the process of healing doesn't mean you aren't still rehearsing the pain. You can tell your story perfectly. Name the narcissist, the neglect, the betrayal. Name every wound with clinical precision and still be completely trapped inside of it. Because awareness is not the same as freedom. A diagnosis is not a doorway unless you choose to walk through it. At some point, you have to treat the trigger, the wound, as data, not drama. A trigger can show you where the pain lives. It can show you what still needs care, what boundary is needed. But if you build a home inside the trigger, you do not get freedom. You just decorate your prison. You start calling bitterness discernment. You start calling defensiveness truth. And you start calling resentment protection. And eventually, you become loyal to that wound. My grandmother carried assumptions about her mother for decades. And those assumptions shaped her entire life. My grandmother grew up believing certain things were not allowed. That life worked one specific way. That asking for help meant something bad about yourself. That rules were safety. That obedience was wisdom. And years later, when she finally brought one of those fears to her mother basically said, "You could have asked me." And my grandmother realized some of the cage had been real, but some of it had also been assumed. That does not make her pain fake. It just means the pattern was bigger than one villain. This is where a lot of people get mad because healing asks you to give up one version of the story. We all know it's easier to say, they were bad, I was hurt, this is all I can handle. And sometimes, yes, that is where the boundary begins. But healing eventually asks a harder question. Why am I still carrying because I refuse to see anything except the injury? What am I passing on because I keep worshiping my pain? Who am I becoming while proving what happened to me? And if you choose to stay wounded, if you choose to stay the victim, ultimately you inherit the pain. That wound will not stay private. It will leak into your friendships, relationships, your children, coworkers, even your nervous system, your choices, your tone, your silence, and your reactions. And then one day, someone else will be healing from you for the pain you're walking around with. This is the part nobody wants to say out loud, so I will. Your trauma explains you, but it does not excuse who you are becoming. The past may not be your fault, but your future and what you are becoming is your responsibility and no one else's. You do not have to forgive everyone. You don't have to reconcile or let unsafe people back in your life, but you do have to decide, am I protecting my peace or am I protecting my pain? Because the wound is real, but it's not the pinnacle of your existence. You do not have to keep wearing it just to prove you survived. I was going to end on video 13, but I decided, like the tarot, this series deserves a resurrection of choice. Because remember, after the wound dies from being your identity, you're reborn again. And if this series made you uncomfortable at any point, good. It's your doorway. Reiki, the Legacy series. The links are in the bio.